What if scoliosis isn't something you outgrow, but something that just comes back differently after 40? I'm Dr. Juan du Plessis from Scolicare, and I work with adults every week who are living with scoliosis, but missing the signs that really matter. Because after 40, it's not just about curve size anymore. It's about pain, posture, and the slow loss of function. Today I'll show you the key shifts adults over 40 need to make when managing scoliosis and avoid unnecessary interventions. Here's the issue I see time and time again. Whether someone walks into our clinic for the first time or has been managing scoliosis for years, they're looking at their x-ray, pointing to the curve and saying, is it worse or has it gotten bigger? And while that's a completely understandable question, it's not the one that matters the most anymore. Because after 40, scoliosis doesn't just change in the way it looks on an x-ray, it changes in the way it behaves in your body. And the real danger is this: adults often get caught chasing the curve when what's actually impacting their life, their comfort, and their mobility is something much harder to see. Pain, fatigue, loss of function, the slow drift away from doing the things you love without even realizing scoliosis is the one quietly stealing your energy. That's the real problem. And most people are missing it completely. Let me give you a scenario I see all the time. Two adults, both in their 50s, come in with scoliosis. Their x-rays look almost identical. Same curve size, similar shape. On paper, you'd think they're in the same boat. But one of them still walks their dog every morning, plays tennis on weekends, and works full-time with no issue at all. The other, they've stopped traveling, they wake up stiff and sore, and they struggle to sit through a movie without shifting in pain. And the difference isn't the curve, it's how their spine is functioning under the surface. See, scoliosis in adults is less about angles and more about how those angles affect muscle balance, joint loading, and overall posture. One person's spine has adapted and been supported, the other's has started to collapse inwards, quietly, gradually, but with real consequences. And unless we shift the conversation from what does it look like on the x-ray to how is this person actually functioning day to day, we miss the point. If two people can have the same scoliosis curve, but completely different outcomes, what's actually driving those outcomes? To answer that, we need to look beyond the spine itself and start looking at the whole picture. Aging, structure, movement, and how those things interact when a curve is already present. Once we understand how scoliosis behaves differently after 40, we can finally start managing it in a way that actually improves quality of life, not just what shows up on the x-ray. But before we dive in, there's a quick resource I'd like to recommend. If you'd like to learn more, we've created a concise guide to help you understand adult scoliosis and your treatment options. Simply click below to read it. Now, let's unpack what's really happening. After 40, the body starts to change in ways that directly impact how the scoliosis behaves. And one of the biggest shifts is that the spine naturally begins to lose flexibility. Discs thin out, joints stiffen, muscles weaken. This is all part of the aging process. But when scoliosis is already in the mix, those changes can have a much larger impact. What we often see is something called adult degenerative scoliosis, or the progression of an existing curve that was previously stable. And it's not just about the curve getting larger, it's about how that curve starts to affect posture, balance, and load distribution across the spine. Here's the important part. Many adults assume that if their curve isn't getting worse on paper, they're fine. But scoliosis-related symptoms like pain, fatigue, or postural collapse often show up without significant changes in cob angle. That's because the muscles around the spine are doing more work to keep you upright. The joints are compressing unevenly. Your body is constantly compensating for a structure that's not balanced. And that compensation, it wears you down. So if we're only measuring progress by the curve size, we're missing the whole story. What we should be asking is, how well are you functioning? How well are you moving? Are you maintaining strength, stability, and confidence in your body? That's the real benchmark. And it's a far more useful one, especially after 40. So now that we understand what's really going on, the deeper changes that happen with age, and how they affect not just the spine's shape, but your everyday function, the next question becomes, what can you actually do about it? Because the good news is, you're not powerless. Far from it. There are simple, targeted strategies that can help you reduce pain, improve your posture, and support your spine in ways that go far beyond curve measurements. The first thing I recommend, start tracking your symptoms. It's not just your x-rays. Keep a simple journal, nothing fancy. Just jot down how long you can walk without discomfort, how you feel after sitting for an hour, how you're sleeping, or how often you feel stiff in the mornings. These are the patterns that tell us how your scoliosis is affecting your life, not just how it looks on the film. Second, you need to start rebuilding postural strength with a scoliosis-specific program. I can't stress this enough. General exercise is great, but it often misses the mark for scoliosis. What you need is a structured, personalized approach like ScoliBalance. It targets the imbalances, trains your body to support itself more effectively, and helps you move with less strain and more control. And third, get a proper functional assessment from someone who understands adult scoliosis. That means going beyond the x-ray. It means looking at how you stand, how you walk, how your spine moves under load. A trained clinician can identify subtle changes in alignment, stability, and muscle engagement that often explain your symptoms far better than a Cobb angle ever could. If you're not sure where to start, book a consultation with one of our scoliosis trained providers, someone who can look at the full picture and help you build a plan that actually works for your body. The link is in the description. So the steps are: track what you feel, rebuild strength, get a proper assessment. Now, if you're thinking, I've never thought about scoliosis like this before, that's exactly the point. Because the sooner we shift away from obsessing over curve size and instead focus on what truly impacts your daily life, the sooner you'll start seeing the real lasting results. If you're over 40 and living with scoliosis, it's time to stop chasing curve numbers and start focusing on function. Your spine isn't just a structure, it's your stability, your mobility, your confidence. That's it from me. But if you're interested in learning more, our channel has plenty of helpful videos ready for you. I'm Dr. Juan du Plessis, and from all of us at Scolicare, thank you for watching.